Hi, my name is Trevin Russell, and I'll be doing Chapter 5 of Tortilla Flat. A brief summary of the chapter. Pablo and Pylon decided to go get wine from the salesman using the money Jesus gave them. They bought the wine, and then while sitting in the wine salesman front yard under a bush, they decide not to give any to Danny. They decide that a healthy young man like him shouldn't be drinking alcohol and that they are doing him a favor by drinking all this alcohol for him. Later in the day, they decide to go home and they get more drunk and light a fire in their stove, light a candle, and Jesus comes back and he is badly beaten up. Uh, they console him and eventually find out that he was beaten up by a couple of soldiers whose whiskey he drank. And then they fall asleep, and unknown to them, a candle catches the house on fire, and they barely make it out in time. Next, I wanted to talk about the two passions that I thought really lined up with this chapter, greed and gluttony. Thought these really kind of showed some of the main traits of these three main characters, Pylon, Pablo, and Jesus. There's many examples throughout the whole story, not just this chapter even, of these guys just kind of thinking of themselves first, not caring about other people, being greedy in the sense of taking Jesus's last few dollars that was meant for this girl he liked, or taking advantage of Danny for so long, or drinking wine that was meant for Danny, but really never would have even gotten to him. I think these guys kind of are just prime examples of greedy, gluttonous men with faults. Now, when I thought of a philosophy that would align with this chapter, and more specifically these three main characters of this chapter, I thought of hedonism. These characters line up really well with hedonistic values, especially the seeking out pleasure part. Pylon, Pablo, and Jesus do pretty much everything in their lives just to get the maximum pleasure. They don't work, they kind of mooch off each other, and mainly Danny. They really just want to get drunk all day and not have any responsibilities, and they're pretty good at it. Some examples of this would be Pylon and Pablo drinking all of Danny's wine that they got specifically for him, but instead deciding it'd be better if they drank it. Or Jesus drinking the soldier's whiskey, even though they kicked the crap out of him for it. It's just men that only want pleasure out of life and really don't care whose toes they have to step on to get it. So now here's some questions I have for you guys. Do you think Pylon, Pablo, and Jesus will change their ways and maybe become better people? Do you think they're going to pay Danny back and actually go try and make money? What do you think Danny's reaction is going to be the next day after his house burned down? I know he sent Jesus away at the end of the chapter, telling him that it's not really his problem at that moment, but I'm sure he's pissed about it and wants to I want to see what he does next about his house being burned down. And the last question is, will Danny continue to help Pylon, Pablo, and Jesus even after all they've done to him? Consistently taking advantage of him. Now they've burned down his house, and they didn't even apologize. They just ran away to the woods to hide. I wonder if there's even an ability to forgive these people after all they've done to him. That concludes my Chapter 5 presentation on Tortilla Flat. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great rest of your day.